Hey guys, so in this video I'm just going to provide a small update to the Uber shader for Unreal that I made that just kind of has some turning on and off textures, roughness, specularity controls, I explained it in the other video, so go check it out if you want a better recap. But basically, the small update I've made allows you to paint arbitrary wet maps. Basically, just, areas of really high specular or kind of low roughness that makes things look like they're wet. And that is handy for anything that's going to be going through water but isn't actually going to get water on it, or maybe it will but won't contain it. So this material only makes things only makes things look like they are wet. It doesn't actually like apply water, or it's not a true water material, but it's sort of like that thin layer of water on things that have just run through water. That is important to consider on usage. So it will be awesome for areas where things will be running through water and you just don't want to make another texture. So you don't have to. You can just paint that in Unreal without having to import another texture. I am going to be honest, I haven't tested this thoroughly, so I don't know how this will impact performance if it was used a lot. That is something that I will have to just keep updating on and see how it goes. I don't have much experience with vertex painting in Unreal besides just doing it in the small shader, so I don't know how, like I said, I don't know how it's going to perform or what that's really going to be like. But with that being said, let us go ahead and get started. So I'm just going to pull in a shader ball here. I'm going to go to my master material, my second version. I'm going to create an instance. Just going to set that, and we are going to go down and enable these new wetness controls. I'm going to zoom out of here first. I will enable this. It's going to take a second to, actually didn't take a second to recompile, but now we're just going to get a color that I want. Nothing too saturated, but like kind of noticeably blue. Actually, you could even say like, oh, maybe it's a little murky or something. I don't know. This is just the part where you choose the color that you want. Maybe it should be somewhere in here. I don't know, that's good enough. And I'll probably toy with this roughness a bit just to, yeah, there we go, get it to be a more wet look. Now, I'm going to save this. If I apply it to here, it's going to actually have the default everything is wet look. Nice, slimy little cobblestone ball there. Kind of looks disgusting a little bit, doesn't it? This is because, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure that's just because all vertices, come in painted as white. So for starters, you just have to go and fill your paint colors black. Oops. Then go back and swap it again, and then you just start arbitrarily painting areas you want to be like more, more or less wet. And boom, just like that. So like I said, this will be handy in look development workflows where you don't want to make another texture just to represent the wet map and then import that and modify the shader to actually accept that parameter. Like you'd have to do some multiplication of multiplying your roughness by your wet map to get those specific areas singled out, or you can do it, by just painting. Maybe it's better to do it the other way. Maybe it's not better to paint it for performance reasons. I'm going to be honest, I don't know. Like I said earlier, that's just something I'm going to have to work with and figure out, but this works really well. I might add some more controls. Actually, I might not. I might not need to. I might add a small normal control to like maybe indent things just a little bit. I probably won't. I probably won't need to. Maybe we'll see what my project needs. But this will be useful. For example, we'll have a vehicle that's going through water at some point on a map, and it would be nice if we can just paint out those areas at that specific time or something, or dynamically enable after it's already been painted out whenever we want to, which you can do in a blueprint because I've set it up as a parameter. So we could grab the parameter, and at any given time with a blueprint, we could just say turn off the wetness and then like turn on the wetness when it's actually wet. So yeah, like I said, just a small recap. I don't know how it will impact performance, but it's just a nifty little vertex painting alpha mask essentially that will go in and get you a wet look, or any look for that matter. You could adjust these parameters if you decided you didn't want it to be wet, or you just wanted like some grime on top of there. We could easily change it. So literally, it doesn't even matter honestly. maybe that's mud, who knows, this could be whatever you want it to be. And it works completely with the paint tool, so you can modify your brush and do what you need to do to get the look that you want. I might add in some controls to have another alpha, to like combine multiple alphas. So if you did want to use a map to influence this, I guess you could, but that might be purpose defeating. I don't know. There's still more work to be done, but this is just a small update on what I'm gonna, what I'm gonna be doing with this material. And in a future update, I might introduce some aspects of toon shading to it, like cell shaded hard outlines, and maybe even a kind of specular that like is very stark and has harsh edges. We'll see, but definitely keep an eye out for the more stylized direction of this. Although being a PBR material, you can only get so stylized by default. However, the nice thing is that a lot of the look will depend on the textures. So as long as the textures have the style you want, this material will work pretty well with them. And on that note, I am going to sign off.